The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words over 2,000 years ago, not for an audience, not for legacy, but as a reminder to himself. Now ask yourself this: in a world that bombards you with opinions, demands, and distractions, who's in charge of your thoughts? Your mind is the only domain you truly control, and in that truth lies your power. Not power over the world, but over yourself, and that's where happiness begins. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy carved into marble. It's a living practice, one that teaches us to remain calm in the storm, grateful amidst chaos, and focused when everything around us is trying to pull us apart. This isn't about ancient history, it's about you, right here, right now. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by noise, if you've ever craved silence, peace, or purpose, then listen closely, because the path to clarity doesn't start in the world. It starts in your own mind. And if you're someone who still believes that depth matters in a shallow world, then this video might just change something in you. Let's begin. We talk a lot about hustle, about grinding, about chasing something that often feels blurry. But what if the goal isn't just to move fast? What if it's to move with clarity? The Japanese have a word for this, ikigai. It means your reason for being, not just what you love, not just what you're good at, but the sacred intersection of passion, skill, purpose, and service to the world. It's the reason some people leap out of bed in the morning while others hit snooze for the 5th time. And no, you don't find it by accident. You build it slowly, through reflection, through choices. Start by asking, what excites me? What do I naturally do well? What does the world actually need from me? And can this become not just a passion, but a path? You won't get all the answers today, but even asking the right questions is a radical act in a distracted world. Marcus Aurelius believed we are here for a purpose, not to drift, not to react, but to contribute, to serve something larger than ourselves. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, remind yourself, I'm rising to do the work of a human being. That one sentence, it can transform your morning from something you escape into something you step into. So tomorrow, don't just wake up. Wake up with reason. Wake up with resolve. Because when you align your mornings with your values, even brushing your teeth becomes a sacred act. Mornings don't begin when the sun rises. They begin in the quiet hours, the night before. You see, how you close your day is how you prime your mind. The world says, binge a little more, scroll a little longer, run until you're empty. But the Stoics would pause and ask, is this within my control? That's the shift. This isn't about discipline that feels like punishment. It's about intention. It's about respect for your mind, your rest, and tomorrow's energy. Limit the noise before bed, not because it's trendy, but because your thoughts deserve a space to settle. Leave the screen. Return to yourself. Try this. Before you sleep, write down just 3 things, not your entire to-do list, just your true priorities. This simple act, it tells your mind, tomorrow already has purpose. You won't wake up lost, you'll wake up ready. And this is where Stoicism shines. It teaches us to prepare, not predict, to create stillness in the places we can, because chaos often knocks without warning. Breathing, silence, a single lit candle. These aren't aesthetic choices. They're reminders. You are still in control of how you enter rest, of what your final thoughts whisper before you sleep. Marcus didn't have a glowing screen by his bed, but he had distractions. He had pressure. He had a restless empire, yet he chose to focus, and you can too. Picture this. You open your eyes, and for a moment, just a moment, everything is still. No pings, no notifications, no outside voices flooding your head, just you and the sacred silence of dawn. But most mornings don't feel like that. We wake into a rush, emails, news, social media, instant demands, immediate reactions. We don't begin our day, we get pulled into it, and that right there is where the day is won or lost. Marcus Aurelius wasn't distracted by Instagram, but don't be fooled. He had politics, wars, crises knocking at his door. Still, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So the real question becomes, what do you give your attention to when your mind is still untouched? Because the quality of that first hour, it becomes the tone of your entire day. Here's the shift. Don't start with reaction. Start with ritual. Light a candle. Sit with your thoughts. Breathe. Read something that nourishes your mind. Write something that reveals your heart. Even something as simple as sipping tea, fully present, can root you in clarity. And no, this isn't wasted time. This is training. This is resistance against chaos. This is how warriors prepare. Not with frenzy, but with focus. You don't need a complicated routine. You need presence and the courage to say, "This morning belongs to me." Here's the truth. None of this matters if you only do it once. Stoicism isn't a motivational quote. It's a discipline. And discipline doesn't shout. It whispers every morning as your alarm goes off and your bed begs you to stay. Consistency isn't glamorous. Waking up with intention doesn't come with applause. But that quiet act of rising again and again, that is where real power lives. It's not about being a morning person. It's about becoming a present person. When you get up with purpose, you don't just win the morning. You start reprogramming your life. Because every consistent wake-up is a declaration. I am not ruled by comfort. I am guided by purpose. Of course it's hard. The Stoics never said otherwise. They said, do it anyway. Marcus reminded himself daily, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to breathe, to love. So yes, comfort will tempt you, but your future won't be built by snoozing your way through discomfort. Here's how you begin. Tonight, decide. Decide who you want to be tomorrow. Go to bed with intention. Wake up with integrity. Start small, same time each day, not to impress the world, but to honor yourself. And when it gets hard, and it will, remember, the first battle of the day is the one within. And if you can win that, the rest of the day is already yours. Change is beautiful, but let's be honest, it's hard, especially when it's cold, you're warm, and your alarm sounds like betrayal. There will be mornings when you don't get up, when comfort wins. And that's okay, because what you do after you stumble is what counts. Don't spiral into guilt. Don't declare the routine a failure. Take a breath, reset, begin again. Forgiveness isn't softness. It's strength with wisdom. It's saying, I'm not here for perfection. I'm here to become. The Stoics understood this. They didn't aim to be flawless. They aimed to show up with grace every time they fell. You don't need to climb a mountain every morning. Just put your alarm across the room. Make your bed. These aren't chores. They're declarations. I choose order over chaos, presence over numbness. Marcus Aurelius would argue, It's not in grand gestures, but in the quiet repetition of noble acts that character is formed. So yes, that perfectly tucked sheet, that's not just tidiness. That's self-respect. These little actions, they're votes for the person you're becoming. The world may pull your plans apart. You may not control the economy, the headlines, or the weather, but you can control how you start your day, what you do with the first 5 minutes, how you shape your space and your state of mind. That's Stoicism, lived. It's not about controlling life. It's about commanding your response to it. Want to make it easier? Don't walk alone. Find an accountability partner. Someone who believes in you enough to remind you of who you said you wanted to become. When your willpower wavers, they're the voice that says, I'm with you, not to judge, to walk beside you. Even the Stoics, Marcus, Seneca, Epictetus, spoke of friendship and community. Because wisdom isn't hoarded, it's shared. So invite someone into the journey, not just for motivation, but for mutual growth. Want to make it easier? Don't walk alone. Here's a thought the Stoics carried daily. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Harsh? Maybe. But liberating? Absolutely. Because when you remember death, you remember how alive you are. Each morning becomes a gift, not just another Tuesday, but a once-in-a-lifetime event. Would you waste it scrolling, or would you live it on purpose, with depth, with presence? Let your mornings carry this gentle weight. Let them remind you that you're not promised tomorrow. So live today like it mattered. Want to build unshakable calm? Visualize what could go wrong, not to suffer early, but to be ready. A missed bus, a bad meeting, a tough conversation. Prepare for it in your mind. And when it comes, it won't crush you. This isn't pessimism. This is Stoic muscle memory. You've seen the storm before. Now you walk into it, steady, and something strange happens when you do this. Gratitude blooms. You notice what you have, the coffee, the sunlight, the person next to you. Because imagining loss, paradoxically, makes the present precious. Before your head hits the pillow, take one final moment, not for scrolling, but for stillness. Write 3 things you're grateful for. Not big things, just real things. A conversation, a moment of laughter, the strength to try again. This isn't spiritual fluff. It's psychological hygiene. It closes the day with peace, so you can open the next with purpose. Every act you take is a stone placed on the foundation of your life. Each morning you rise despite doubt. Each breath you take, despite fear. Each moment you reflect, despite the noise. That is the work. This isn't about becoming superhuman. It's about becoming deeply human, resilient, intentional, grateful. The Stoics didn't preach perfection. They practiced presence. And you've already started. If this stirred something in you, a flicker of stillness, a whisper of resolve, don't let it fade. Subscribe not just to this channel, but to a life lived with intention. Each week, we gather ancient wisdom and turn it into modern strength. Not noise, not fluff, just quiet truths for loud, restless lives. So if you're ready to live deeper, click subscribe. And let this be the first of many mornings you choose to rise with purpose.